All right. What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? It's FJ, and today is December 29th, the last Thursday of 2022, and I didn't want to go out of the year missing that last opportunity to have another BrackCast podcast. So I think I might be having to do it solo today, but that's all right. Guys, I just wanted today to be about, kind of like a recap of the year. What happened in 2022? I was a little shocked too when I started looking up the headlines and the news, stories of just what happened in the last year. Shocking, actually, how things kind of just like move behind you as you go, proceed to the next day in your life. But here we guys go. I pulled this from the Wall Street Journal. I was basically looking up the biggest news, top headlines in 2022. So I think the Wall Street Journal is a good source. Found this, and I figured, guys, we'll just go through it. We'll go through it and hopefully generate some thoughts. Obviously, there's other ideas that I have for today, where we can kind of go over more of a personal level of like where we are in our lives, or maybe some transitioning things coming out of the COVID pandemic times. But yeah, let's go through these headlines first, guys. So 2022, I like that's like a nice title there. 2022's biggest news stories as told by the Wall Street Journal. In January 3, Elizabeth Holmes is convicted. So this is, I think that the blood Theranos. Okay, so I'll read the actual article. But in January 3, Elizabeth Holmes is convicted. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes is found guilty of defrauding investors in the blood testing company and will be sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. Funny enough, I did not know this happened at all this year. Or I remember there was like a Netflix documentary about it. I didn't realize that was, I guess this may be the conclusion finally. I'd say it's well deserved with how many people she lied to and took advantage of. But there's that first headline. Same day, January 3, nibbling at a milestone, Apple briefly touches $3 trillion in market value. The first US company to do so. Again, I didn't know that. January 12th, inflation accelerates. Inflation reached 7% in 2021. Labor Department figures show the fastest pace in nearly 4 decades amid pandemic-related disruptions and federal stimulus spending. I guess that's how they would do it. No one's happy about it. I feel like it feels like I saw a figure about 9% somewhere. In any case, moving on. January 18, game buy. So this is when Microsoft agrees to acquire Activision Blizzard, a video game heavyweight that has been roiled by claims of workplace misconduct. Really? Oh yeah, Blizzard. I keep thinking, yeah, Blizzard for sure. Activision, I was thinking for Call of Duty, but in a cash deal valued at about $75 billion, though the FTC will move to block the purchase. Oh, why? I mean, is that still? I feel like it's still in the works. Like I heard this was still like an idea fairly recently. So, all right, January 28, pace of pay. U.S. wages and benefits rose at a 2-decade high of 4% in 2021 as inflation picked up. I mean, wage and benefits going up 4%, but inflation 7%. It doesn't really add up, guys. Not so great. January 30, living with COVID. Yeah, because I don't think it really opened up until like March, right? But the Omicron variant spreads so quickly and generally causes such a mild form of illness among vaccinated people that many countries are foregoing restrictive steps used earlier in the pandemic. Oh. Yeah, I guess that's when like masks were starting to, the mandate for masks was being lifted. Restaurants were allowing people to get in. I don't know. Yeah, maybe even proof of vax was starting to be lifted too, just in January this year. Let's see here. Moving on to February. February 7, boxes at Mar-a-Lago. The National Archives says it recently retrieved 15 boxes of documents from Donald Trump's Florida residence. It will soon determine they include classified government records. Okay. February 11th, skaters fall. Russia's gold medal in team figure skating at the Olympics is in doubt as officials confirm the team's 15-year-old star Kamila Valieva tested positive for a banned substance in December. Okay. I didn't know any of that. Olympics. Was the Olympics this year? I don't even remember. February 13, Hollywood ending. The Los Angeles Rams come from behind in the closing minutes to win the Super Bowl over the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. I think I kind of remember watching those highlights. I wasn't really into the Super Bowl game itself, but I was definitely into the halftime show with Dre and the full cast. It was awesome. I think it was my favorite halftime show of all time. That was a good one. February 15, Sandy Hook settlement. Remington Arms agrees to pay $73 million to families who lost loved ones in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Oh wow, $73 million. Remington Arms. I don't know. I guess that sounds like a firearm company. Guys, I have to admit, I'm not super into news. I don't really keep up with like headlines, newspapers, magazines, or whatever like that online. I get my news generally from like what's trending in social media, what I hear from my own personal social circles, and that's what I may read into more. Although if it is something that pops up in my YouTube recommended or in like my For You page, that's how I kind of consume my news these days. February 17, baby formula recall. I kind of remember this. Abbott Laboratories recalls 3 types of baby formula made at a plant in Michigan, compounding supply chain problems and helping to cause months of shortages around the nation. So guys, the next headline is what kind of like eluded me. Like February 24, Russia invades Ukraine. I mean, I'm sure there's many of you out there who still quite have a very close personal connection with this war. But I think for quite a bit of the world, vast majority, can you even say, have kind of, sadly, kind of overlooked and just kind of placed that behind them. I remember this was a fearful thing for at least the first week or so. And then by the first month, it was almost becoming like a spectacle, like about the leadership in Ukraine and like rallying behind, and it was becoming more of a media spectacle. And then eventually, as with any kind of news, it gets buried underneath any kind of new headlines, and then maybe even got boring for mainstream media. So sad. Russian missiles and airstrikes hit Ukraine's capital, Kiev, and more than a dozen other cities minutes after Russian leader Vladimir Putin announces the invasion. That's crazy. I didn't even know it was just minutes after. Oh, devastation. Military base Brovary, east of Kiev, burns. Missile opening hours of the war. Oh man. Alright, take some time to take in these images. Let's use this. You guys can see it even more. That's so sad. Wow. Russian vehicles littering the road. All right, guys. February 24, SWIFT sanctions. Go down to this view. The U.S. and its allies imposed stiff sanctions on Russia, with more rounds to follow, aiming to cut off the Russian economy from much of the world. I do remember that. Yeah, it was, I think, was it around this time too? Yeah. A kind of personal memory of mine associated with Russia around this time of the year. March 1st, targeting civilian areas. Russian forces, frustrated in plans for a quick victory in Ukraine, shift to a strategy of pummeling civilian areas. Okay, this might be some westernized propaganda news. I don't know, but based on what I've been hearing, we don't always get both sides of that story, so we'll just take the headline for what it is. March 2, oil prices surge. Yes, because of shortage. U.S. oil prices close above $110 a barrel. Don't know what that means for Canadians here. For the first time since 2011, as the war in Ukraine starts to scramble the world's oil flows. And this is when I remember gas prices started to get up pretty high. I don't say it was the peak at this time, but it's actually surprising where the gas prices have dropped back down to now. I don't know how it is in your area where you're watching, but I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below if you can. Have you kind of felt like some sort of like relief as to where gas prices are now? Do you think it's a downward trend? March 3, opioid settlement. Sackler family members who own Purdue Pharma agree to pay up to $6 billion to settle lawsuits accusing them of helping fuel the opioid crisis. I kind of remember this headline. Kind of. Can't speak on it anymore. I just remember hearing about the opioid. I don't know about crisis. I didn't know that depth into it. March 8. Arms for Ukraine. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has set off one of the largest and fastest arms transfers in history as the U.S. and its NATO allies rush to supply Ukraine's military. Yeah, this is when it gets... Oh boy. Only from COD do I understand that that's either a... I think that's a Joker. Or a Pila. I think it's a Joker. Anyway. What does it say? An American volunteer in Ukraine teaches Ukrainian troops how to use a Javelin anti-tank missile. Javelin. So I think that is the Joker. Manu Bravo for the Wall Street Journal. March 16, Fed begins raising rates. Federal Reserve officials vote to lift interest rates to slow inflation and pencil in 6 more increases by year's end. The most aggressive pace in more than 15 years. Yeah, people were concerned, but then as with anything else in life, you just kind of like forced to accept it and you move on. March 16, pullback from Russia. Western companies are pausing or ending operations in Russia, marking the end of an era after 3 decades of expansion there. Oh, really? March 25, pullback by Russia. Russia says it is shifting the focus of its invasion of Ukraine to the country's east, ending its attempt to capture the capital, Kiev, after a month of heavy losses. I didn't even know that. March 27, Oscars drama. Oh my, that was this year, yes. Why am I reacting so heavily to this versus all the war headlines we just read? But yes, the Oscars drama. Here's the famous image. Will Smith strikes Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars shortly before winning the Best Actor award. The Motion Picture Academy will later ban him from attending Oscars ceremonies for 10 years. Yeah. That was a low for him. I mean, that might have been his low. Physically, I mean, he just came back. I remember that this was just shortly after I watched Best Shape of My Life, his like YouTube series to promote his book. I think it was that time. Yeah, because his book came out in December. And then this with the whole Jada alopecia thing, I think. Yikes. March 31st. Markets in turmoil. Amid war and inflation, stocks post their worst quarterly performance in 2 years as March comes to a close and other markets have recorded some of the most extreme moves on record. Yes, of course. As we all anticipated because of the war. April 3, reports of Russian atrocities. Yeah, the mass graves, as they said. We talked about this in the pod. Ukrainian officials and independent rights watchdogs say they are uncovering evidence of war crimes in several regions that were occupied by Russian troops until their recent withdrawal. The mass graves. If you guys don't remember that, just Google mass graves. Russia, Ukraine. Yeah. April 7, supply chain strains grow. Manufacturers are struggling to keep some of their China operations going as COVID-19 lockdowns choke off supplies and clog up truck routes and ports. April 8, banker is found guilty in one MDB scandal. Rogers Ng, a former Goldman Sachs banker, is convicted of helping to plunder billions of dollars from the Malaysia's 1MDB sovereign wealth fund in one of the world's largest financial scandals. I feel like I should have known that about that. That's crazy. April 14, Ukraine sinks Russian flagship. The Moskva, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, sinks after what the Ukrainian military says was a missile strike on the vessel. Wow. April 18, Patriots Day Run. The Boston Marathon returns to its spring slot with a full field after 2 years of pandemic disruptions. Oh, wow. 221. Good time. April 19, ads on Netflix. After posting its first quarterly subscriber loss in over a decade. Oh, yeah. Netflix says it may offer a lower priced, ad-supported version of the platform. I don't even know how that panned out. What happened there? If anyone, I guess I could look it up if I really wanted to, but if anyone wants to chime in the comments, go ahead. April 20, Tesla profit hits record. Yeah, I remember this. This was like a glory day. And then, unfortunately, where it is now is pretty sad. But Tesla posts a $3.3 billion quarterly profit. And it says it could increase vehicle output more than expected this year despite supply chain disruptions. And I don't think that actually happened. There's like wait lists like crazy for any new car right now. Particularly Tesla, but it's not just Tesla. April 22, global growth ebbs. Global growth ebbs. Economic growth is slowing in large parts of the globe as businesses face the effects of Russia's war in Ukraine, COVID lockdowns in China, and high inflation. Really? China had another COVID lockdown? I didn't even know that. Would make sense. Everyone, expected that they stopped reporting their actual numbers on the world tracking of like, what is it, like contractions in infections and deaths. The toll, the tally. April 25, Musk has deal to buy Twitter. Oh yeah. Twitter accepts a bid from Elon Musk, who has clashed with the company to acquire it for $44 billion. This was a whole kind of like big meme thing. Like, did he orchestrate the whole thing so that it would force Twitter, like he makes the bid because he wants to make it fully transparent, and then I believe everyone was thinking that it was going to go through, but then he requests like some information about like the bots, those accounts, and then pulls back his offer, which forces, I think, like investigation on the actual like account information. So yeah, the whole thing, I remember reading that people were saying he orchestrated the whole thing for that to happen. May, big loss staggers SoftBank. SoftBank, May 12, one of the world's most aggressive high-tech investors, posts its biggest annual loss, over $13.2 billion, and says it will cut back its pace of new investments. But worse news is to come. Okay. May 13, judicial ethics law bolsters stock disclosures. President Biden signs a bill requiring federal judges and Supreme Court justices to make more timely and accessible disclosures of their financial holdings and potential conflicts of interest. The bill was prompted by a Wall Street Journal investigation. Well, good job, Wall Street Journal. May 14, mass shooting in Buffalo. A gunman kills 10 people and wounds 3 others in a supermarket in Buffalo, New York in a possible hate crime. 11 of those shot were black. Oh, man. May 24, Texas school shooter kills 21. What? 10 days later. I kind of remember like how, yeah, all these Instagram responses, I guess you would say, or reactions of like people saying like they're fed up. Like it needs to change. How can this keep going? An 18-year-old man kills 19 students and 2 adults in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, before being killed by law enforcement. Ay, ay, ay. June 1. I mean, let's take a moment, obviously, to remember all those who fell victim to this incident and the one on May 14 too. June 1, Sandberg to depart as Meta COO. Sheryl Sandberg says she will leave her role as Chief Operating Officer of Facebook's parent Meta Platforms, closing out her tenure helping to lead one of the world's most profitable and controversial companies. No other brief thing there. June 9, Committee of January 6 riot begins public hearings. In its first public hearing, the House Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol lays out overview of its case against Donald Trump. Look at that panel, guys. I just noticed. Let's make this full screen so you guys can see. Diversity, I guess, by these two? Or 3, I guess, behind there too. But, yeah. Alright then. What a setup. Alright. June 15, the Fed goes big. The Fed raises rates by 0.75 percentage point. Its largest increase since '94, stepping up efforts to slow inflation. I didn't even know that. June 16, mortgage rates surge. U.S. mortgage rates had their biggest weekly increase since 1987, Freddie Mac says, and now stand at 5.78%, up from 3.11% near the end of last year. That's a lot. I did not know that, as I don't own a home. I guess it was kind of not applicable to me. June 18, the crypto party is over. Since Bitcoin peaked in November 2021, about $2 trillion of cryptocurrency value, more than 2/3 of all the crypto that existed has been erased, and an industry built on swagger, enthusiasm, and optimism is seeing loss and layoffs. What's up, Tom? Let me bring you in the screen here, dude. Let me 1 second here. Hold on.
Talking crypto.
No, actually, well, I'll fill you in here. Let me bust out this. 1 second, guys. We're gonna bring Tom into this, and then pop this out. We're just recapping 2022, dude. So let me.
Yeah.
This is the last podcast of the year, obviously, but I'm going through the top headlines of 2022, and I've just hit June, or about to be in July. Some notable ones before were mass shootings, Ukraine, and Russia war. Has that been kind of like still in your mind the whole year, or at what point in the year did you kind of like let that go?
Well, it was pretty quiet until notice. I'm not saying anything, but it's just coincidence now that they're firing missiles that they freed the god of war. Now they got a whole bunch of fucking missiles.
Oh, really? You're gonna.
They're running out of ammo.
Yeah.
They're running out of ammo. Remember, that was their problem. But now they launched 127.
Is that like recent headline? Just like today?
Yeah, like yesterday.
Oh
Today?
wow. Oh geez. Okay. Yeah. So
I know they want peace talk, but there's no interest in it.
Yeah, the last headline I went over was, yeah, crypto was at its peak in November 2021, but since then, yeah,
I think it's
that's
taking a
that's when
hit.
it started. That's when it started to like crash, come back down like heavily.
Now, when you say crypto, does that mean all cryptocurrency, or
Yeah.
because there's I don't know how many crypto providers there are, whatever you want to call it. It's
Not
major.
just
I
the
don't know.
provider, but you mean the
Like
actual,
the
like Bitcoin
yeah,
is the
is
largest.
crypto? Oh, Bitcoin is one form of a crypto.
Yes,
Is
yeah,
that what that is?
yeah. But there's
Okay.
exchanges too. But the exchanges get not the exchange, but like the platforms where you can buy and sell crypto. They all suffered from this drop too because yeah, Bitcoin dropped, Ethereum dropped, they all dropped.
Yes or no, but it's theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
June 21, air travel is breaking down. Delays, cancellations, long lines, and lost baggage are plaguing air travel worldwide as airlines and airports struggle with soaring summer demand and staff shortfalls. That happened in June.
It's like
I do kind of remember that. Surprisingly, though, because like you'd think people were first fearful of travel because of the war, but then yeah, eventually, because this was when like restrictions were being lifted. You know, you didn't really need
everyone
proof
was
of
in.
vax
Yeah.
as much as,
Everyone was in.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, people were starting to travel a lot more, wanted to go on
There was a lot
vacation.
of demand, right? But they weren't ready for the demand. It seems like, right? Even now,
Oh
right? There's
yeah, it's still
still
shortage and
like,
stuff.
all over Facebook. People didn't have their luggage and shit, or I see thousands of bags just sitting there. I don't know what's going on. That's weird.
June 21st, Kellogg to split. Kellogg says it plans to divide itself into three companies, separating its larger, faster growing snacks business from its namesake cereal brands. I don't even know that. Although I did a Kellogg event, but I think that was later in the fall. Anyway, June 24, High Court overturns Roe versus Wade. Supreme Court eliminates the
Yeah.
constitutional right to an abortion. Oh yeah, overruling the 1973 Roe versus Wade decision and leaving the question of abortion's legality to the states. Oh, that
Yeah.
was nuts.
That's
That
say it's not a federal thing now. It's all in state independent. So abortion is still legal, but every state that now can legislate. Because I'm sure there's more abortions in one state than there are like in little fucking Rhode Island compared to, New York and
right.
shit like that.
Yeah, in
They don't have to allocate all
California.
those funds there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
So I get both sides of the coin. But everyone's under the assumption that they're taking away the right to have an abortion, which is not true.
It's not true? Oh, okay. That's what I mean,
Oh,
that's
you
what
can
the
still have an
headlines.
abortion.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you could still have an abortion. Some states are outlawing it because they're allowed to, but there are many states that are still. Some are tightening it up.
Oh, so the
They don't want you to wait till the 90th week or whatever the fuck. They want you
okay.
to do it within 20
So
weeks.
the
Because
option,
how much time do you need?
but the option still is
Yeah.
like the is that they'd have to at least move to a different, not move to a different state, but travel to a different state if they wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many states, right? Like, how far is the next state compared to Canada, where you have to, I don't know, travel to
Uh,
another province?
right. I mean,
So,
depends where you are in the state too, but
yeah. I mean, there's still the thing about, if it affects the mother's health and well-being, that's still being, on the table. All kinds of stuff,
yeah. Yeah.
right? There's so many things but everyone's just under the assumption that they're taking away abortion completely, which they are not.
It's just weird that when I'm going through all these headlines, it is bringing me back to what I was seeing social media at the time,
Yeah.
like the outcries after like the reactions of people, and I remember there was a good week where everyone was like, how can you let the state decide your body, or like who controls your body and stuff, and I remember that. Yeah.
That's funny, right? Those are the same people that hate when people don't get vaccinated.
Were they?
Oh yeah, the pro-abortion people are the same people that you have to be.
That you should
You
be
have to
vaxxed?
be
You
vaccinated,
should be vaxxed, though.
right?
Uh,
That's such a left side of the story, right? Because not saying that that's the true line, but a lot of the conservatives, like, it should be your choice to get unvaccinated, and a lot of conservatives are predominantly pro-life.
right, right.
And that's, pro-life is a thing around the world.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of abortions around the rest of the world per se. If you go to the Philippines, I don't think it happens so much. Africa, not so much. Middle East, no. China, no, not really. It's not
But
right there.
but it's not illegal, is it? I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
I feel like
It's
China
illegal in
would
so many-
in the Philippines.
I don't know. It's pretty frowned upon there.
Well, it's
Like,
frowned
somebody
upon for
illegal in the
sure because of
Philippines.
the Catholic religion, like the religion
Exactly. So that's
aspect.
what I'm saying, right? There's a whole religious thing. I'm a Catholic, but I'm pro-choice. I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, but
But
I
then
think
wouldn't
there's,
China even?
it depends.
Because China still have that 1 kid limit.
I think they've now changed it to 2,
Okay.
right? So if you got pregnant, you were supposed to get rid of that or get fined or something. Remember they had some ridiculous fine?
If you had more than one,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, there was a fine or something like that.
All right, here we go. June 30. Markets post worst first half in decades. S&P 500 ends the first half down 21% for the year. Its worst half since 1970, and the Dow Jones Industrials are down 15%. It's way worse now. It's like 30% down now or more.
Joe Biden.
June 30, High Court curbs regulators' power. The Supreme Court rules the EPA exceeded its authority in seeking to limit coal plant emissions, a decision that sharply curtails regulatory agencies' authority. I didn't know about any of that. June 30, a new justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, is sworn in to succeed the retiring Stephen Breyer on the Supreme Court, become the first black female justice in the court's history. I didn't know that.
No, she's not. Clarence Thomas is black.
First black female.
Yeah.
Female. So, all right. July 7, Boris Johnson.
Like, that was obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. Boris Johnson to exit, says he will resign as the UK's prime minister after rebellion in his party over a string of scandals. Oh. July 7.
Yep.
July 12, Cosmic View. The first set of full-color images from the James Webb Space Telescope shows stellar nurseries and distant galaxies in exquisite detail. I didn't know this. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Where's that? Where did they see that?
Thousands of galaxies in the first full-color image from the Webb Space Telescope, the edge of a star-forming region in the Carina Nebula, one of the largest stellar nurseries.
Far. That's all I could.
Well, yeah. None of those.
That's fucking far.
Those whatever they're looking at don't exist anymore. Yeah. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
It's so far that what they're seeing.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. Yeah, it takes how many years for light to travel, and the events have already happened.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah.
Apparently, all the stars we see no longer exist at this time.
Some of them are gone already.
That's crazy. That's except for the sun, obviously. But anyway. July 13, inflation hits 40-year high. Yeah, 9.1. That's what I was saying. In January, it was 7%. And now U.S. consumer inflation accelerated to 9.1% in June. A 40-year high that adds to pressure on the Fed.
Should stop giving their money away.
Oh, man. July 15, slow growth in China. China's GDP for April to June rose at the slowest pace in more than 2 years, and economists expect a drawn-out rebound from COVID shutdowns. July 22, Ukraine grain deal. Russia and Ukraine agreed to resume exports of millions of tons of Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea for the first time since the Russian invasion, a deal aimed at preventing a global food crisis. I didn't know that, dude. That was just...
Yeah, you didn't know about the grain?
No,
they
man.
Trapped it.
I mean, makes sense. Strategic warfare.
Yeah.
July 28, CHIPS Act passes Congress. The House approves and sends to President Biden a $280 billion bill aimed at boosting the U.S. semiconductor industry in an effort to counter competition from China. $280 billion. I kind of remember something like this about chips. There was a shortage of chips. I know, like even video cards and like the, what are they called? Oh my god. processors. Yeah, main processors in computers.
Well, they have that. Is that the same thing that's in the cars? That's why there's such a shortage on cars. I don't know.
Oh, I think cars is there's more to it with cars, like just
Yeah,
materials too.
I know they're waiting for the chip on a lot of these Asian import cars. That's why there's no cars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
July 31st, drone strike kills Al-Qaeda leader. A U.S. drone strike
Yeah.
in Afghanistan kills Ayman al-Zawahiri, a strategist behind the September 11, 2001 attacks. I didn't know that. I thought it stopped at
Yep.
Osama.
That's the one. That's the one for Joe Biden.
Okay, okay.
I'll give him that one.
August now. Kansas votes for abortion rights. August 2. Kansas voters reject a proposed state constitutional amendment that would have ended protection for abortion in the first statewide referendum on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Oh. Protections for abortion. August 5th. Payrolls recover to pre-pandemic levels. Really? A strong jobs report shows the economy has regained the 22 million positions lost early in the pandemic, but will make it hard for the Fed to dial back its pace of interest rate increases. August 8, FBI searches Trump property. FBI agents search former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida as part of an investigation into Mr. Trump's handling of sensitive documents. Okay. August 15, migrant border arrests hit record. Record numbers of migrants are being arrested while crossing the U.S. border with Mexico. A sustained surge of people from across Latin America seeking asylum or work in the U.S.
I thought that was racist when Trump was around. There was no crisis.
Right.
Now Biden is now apparently there's a crisis now, and they're arresting people and throwing them in cages.
Really?
Oh, they built how many more complexes? Yeah, they had to, but nobody talks about it. Yeah, oh yeah, they built how many more? Tons. Look it up. It's crazy. Oh yeah, there's pictures of these guys in cages, but nobody cares because
Right.
it's not Trump.
Right. U.S. agent monitors the border in Sasabia, Arizona, southwest of Tucson. All right. Oh wow. Migrants seeking
There's
asylum.
a record right now. It's crazy. Like El Paso's fucked. Oh.
Really? Migrants seeking asylum
Oh,
wait to be transported to U.S. border. Eagles Pass after crossing the Rio Grande.
They said it's inhumane to have them out there in the cold because it's getting cold now. It's like, well, what the fuck? You got 20,000 people that just showed up. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. And for years they're saying there's no problem when the other administration was around. There's no problem, but apparently there is one now. So I don't know. Kind of funny,
Oh wow.
dude. You should see the borders, man. There's no hiding it now. You should see the lineups. It's nuts.
They're just there.
They're there by the thousands.
Just
and you got to put them somewhere.
It's like a queue.
Just do the math.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Just do the math. Like they're lucky that it's only Mexico beside them. Imagine if they had other countries beside them. Oh fuck! They're thinking they let them all in.
Yeah. All right.
They don't have a problem in the south border, but yeah, it's crazy.
August 16.
Biden looks happy though.
A win for Biden's agenda. President Biden signs into law-sweeping legislation to lower prescription drug prices, boost the renewable energy sector, and impose new taxes on large corporations. Okay. Yeah, he looks happy. He looks awake. August 18, streaming tops cable. Streaming captured a greater share of U.S. viewing time than cable TV for the first time in July. New Nielsen data shows.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
August 24, student loan break. I remember this. This was a big headline. The Biden administration says it will forgive up to $20,000 per borrower in federal student loan debt. Huh?
It's 20 now. I thought it was 10.
Well, this was August 24. Maybe it got lowered to 10. But the order will be put on hold as a legal challenge heads to the Supreme Court. 20K.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's gonna fly.
How are they gonna afford that? just print more money.
Yeah, because exactly. I mean, if you're 80,000 in debt, is it really gonna change anything? I mean, obviously some people might be 20,000 in debt, and I'll free them up. But
Yeah.
We all know how expensive universities are in the States. They're not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's 1 year.
Yeah.
That's 1 year, I think. Yeah.
Flooding in Pakistan. Widespread flooding from heavy monsoon rains has affected millions of people in Pakistan, killed more than 1,000, and crippled the nation's economy. This was August 29. I kind of remember this one too. August 31st, new vaccine mix. U.S. health regulators clear the use of retooled COVID-19 vaccines that target both the original strain of the virus and the recent Omicron subvariants. August 31, Bed Bath & Beyond cuts. Bed Bath & Beyond, a meme stock favorite, just like GameStop, I think, says it will close about 20% of its namesake stores, cut its workforce, and bring in fresh cash to stabilize the business amid plunging sales.
I thought they said in July we got back to normal. You know that? They said the workforce is kind of back to normal.
Really? I kind of remember the meme thing about Bed Bath & Beyond.
You just read that 10 minutes ago. Like the workforce has been, but now they're laying people off again.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think it shifted. Like a lot of workforce, yes, might be getting more jobs and people working, but not in the same companies. A lot of them didn't survive. September 1, learning loss. The education department's first look at test score trends since the pandemic began shows the worst drop in decades in math and reading scores for students in 4th grade. I didn't know that. I mean, I don't, it doesn't surprise me, but I didn't know about that. September 2, pipeline pressure. Russia indefinitely suspends natural gas flows to Europe via the Nord Stream pipeline, raising pressure on Europe as governments race to avoid energy shortages this winter. Well, what happened? Do we know?
Russia's got a lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russia's playing because they control the oil out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
I mean, that was what, 3 months ago? Like something must have, been addressed since then. September 2, pipeline. September 8, Queen Elizabeth II dies. Yes, that was fairly recent. Britain's longest-serving monarch dies at 96 after 7 decades on the throne. Her son Charles becomes king. I do recall this. Oh, people were... Oh, wow. September 10, Ukraine offensive makes big gains. Ukrainian troops push deep into Russian-held territory in the northeast of the country, delivering Russian forces one of their biggest setbacks of the war. September 17, protests in Iran. Protests erupt in Iran over a woman's death after a dress code arrest. In coming weeks, they will grow into a broader movement seeking to an end to the country's system of Islamic governance. Yeah.
I mean, that would be crazy if that happened.
Like, what do you think would actually be achieved?
Well, it'd be then a constitutional government like we do, right?
Well, yeah.
Make a new set of rules that are not based on Sharia law.
It would actually be a big, like, reformation of the actual infrastructure.
Yeah, like religion is not the law anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a big, that's a big objective. I think.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
I'm for it, but
Me
I don't
too.
know if there's enough people in Iran that will.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of resistance.
I mean, look, it's a man's world over there.
Yeah, exactly. September 23, UK in disarray. The government of new Prime Minister Liz Truss unveils big tax cuts and new spending to spur growth, but the plan sparks a financial markets crisis that will lead to emergency intervention by the Bank of England. Okay, September 26th, planetary defense test. NASA's DART spacecraft slams into an asteroid to alter its path in a successful test of a technique that could one day be used to protect Earth. What?
Isn't that the space war thing or something like that they were just talking about?
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one either.
Trump was talking about that during this thing and everybody laughed at it, but apparently they're still doing it.
Slams into an asteroid.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like movie stuff. September 27, Alzheimer's treatment shows promise. An Alzheimer's drug significantly slowed progression of the disease in a large study. Biogen and ASI report. September 28, hurricane batters Florida. Hurricane Ian makes landfall in Florida as one of the strongest storms on record to hit the U.S., causing the widespread destruction and flooding and knocking out power to millions. Wow.
It took out that one island there, you know.
That's nuts. Oh man, like I wouldn't know what to do if that were to ever happen.
No, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
how do you
yeah.
recover?
I mean, hopefully they have insurance. I don't know how it works out there,
Yeah.
but you'd think so, right?
September 30, Russia stakes claims amid setbacks. Russia announces the annexation of 4 regions of Ukraine it doesn't fully control as it continues to lose ground to Ukrainian offensives. Oh. Again, drawn back. September 30, stock slump deepens. U.S. stocks log their 3rd straight quarterly decline. Pressured by persistent inflation and the Fed's monetary tightening, all 3 major indexes are down at least 20% for the year. 21% for the year, yeah. It's bad, man. It's bad right now. October 6, Biden to issue marijuana pardons. President Biden says he will pardon thousands of people convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law and urges governors to take similar action. Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
October 6. October 8, Crimea bridge blast. An explosion severely damages the Kerch Bridge, connecting Russia's mainland to the occupied Crimean Peninsula, a crucial supply line to Russian troops in southern Ukraine. Okay. October 10, destroying infrastructure. Russia unleashes its biggest barrage of strikes on Ukraine since the early days of the war, in what will become a sustained campaign targeting the country's electric grid and other civilian infrastructure. Oh. October 10.
They attacked today. You know, they took out power again.
Today again? Like you said, missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. October 11, active trading by federal officials. Thousands of officials across the U.S. government, executive branch owning or trading stocks that stood to rise or fall with decisions their agencies made, a Wall Street Journal investigation reveals. Oh, okay. October 12, jury orders Alex Jones to pay. InfoWars host Alex Jones is ordered by a jury to pay $965 million in damages for repeatedly calling the 2012 Sandy Hook school massacre a hoax. The judge in the case will later add $473 million in punitive damages.
Pay a fucking $1 billion.
How is
That's just kind of.
How is this? Can the guy afford it? No, right?
Who has that kind of money?
No. Not him. I mean, some do, but not that guy.
Like, I don't understand. I get that. And again, Alex Jones is on the way fucking far right. He's whacked out.
Right.
But like, so he was saying that 2012 is a hoax. Is that $1 billion in damages?
Well,
$1 billion?
I don't know how many people were affected, but there's got to be something per, right?
Not the killer, right?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the news, unfortunately, but
$1 billion.
Like, even if they did like a GoFundMe for all his international fans, well,
no,
American and international fans, I don't think he could get out of that one.
You could even he might be able to raise $1 million, but
yeah, yeah,
$1.3 billion.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, how do they even? I don't know how they came up with that number. I've never heard such an extreme number for. He didn't even kill anybody. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know how that worked, but 1.3 billion, and they're not going to see this money. So what are you going to do?
1.4 billion actually, 1.43, 1.4, close to 1.44 billion.
Yeah, that's wow.
All right, October 14, big grocery merger. Kroger agrees to a $24.6 billion acquisition of Albertsons, one of the biggest deals in the history of the U.S. grocery market. I didn't know that. October 23, tighter grip in China. Xi Jinping claims his 3rd term as China's leader, with his rivals out of the way and no clear successor in sight, signaling greater state control over the world's 2nd largest economy after the U.S. and a more fraught relationship with the U.S. and the West. Hold on. Why is it saying that China is the 2nd largest economy after the U.S.? How is China after the U.S.?
I don't know.
Like, doesn't U.S. owe China?
Yeah, they own their debt.
And doesn't how is China's economy second to, I don't get it, man. They got way more people, way more production, way more money. So I don't know.
What? Yeah, well, I don't know.
There's still more billionaires in the U.S.
I mean,
Sure.
first, second, what's the real difference up there? I don't care.
Well, I think this is just
Sorry.
this is something for, I think this is for Wall Street Journal. It's a U.S. publication, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know about that. That's
You even really? Maybe they say China's the second biggest because they don't actually give their numbers.
true. All right.
China does not give anything when it comes to.
Okay, so
numbers, ever.
according to Dede's chat here, in chat he says, with a GDP of $23 trillion, the U.S. is by far the world's largest economy in this ranking for 2021. It is followed by China in second place with a GDP of $17.73 trillion. Sure, Dede, but do you believe it?
What's the
The question is, do you believe it? The U.S. is 23 trillion. China is 17.73
Whoa,
trillion.
That's close. That's 6 trillion away.
You know,
I mean, that's still a lot.
when it comes to China, right? You can never believe they don't give any numbers ever. They're very secretive about anything.
In terms of GDP, yes, I do. Okay. Gross domestic. Okay, and like,
6,000
so
billion.
production even in terms of like, okay, yeah, like even products and yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yes. If that's
I
okay,
mean,
that's what they're
China's
measuring
the
economy
biggest-
in terms of its production of like products and like goods
China's
and
definitely the
services.
biggest consumer on the planet.
Okay.
Remember when Kanye said he was going to make himself an NFT for $1 trillion?
No.
Yeah. I was like, what? This guy's crazy.
When was that? Oh, I'm just going through
It
top
was on
head.
the Drink Champs episode.
I'm going through. Oh, that one. Yeah. With
It was on like the first one.
what's that
'Cause he
guy's
had, like,
name?
3
Noriega
episodes.
with Noriega, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're going through the top headlines of 2022 right now, and we're now in October. October 25, new leader in UK, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak pledges to repair the damage
she
caused
lasted
by the
3
tax
weeks.
policies of his predecessors, Liz Truss. I thought Liz Truss was just the one, and I guess she was even shorter. Who had the shortest tenure of any British Prime Minister in
3
history.
weeks?
Liz Truss was even shorter than this Rishi Sunak. All right, GDP turns up. The U.S. economy grew in the third quarter after 2 negative quarters, but still showed signs of a broad slowdown, Commerce Department data shows. That was October 27. October 27, Meta stock plunges. Facebook parent Meta Platforms loses nearly a quarter of its market value after posting a second consecutive revenue drop and growing metaverse losses. The stock is now down more than 70% in 2022. Yikes.
Facebook parent? Oh,
Yeah. Meta's just the mother company of Facebook.
Is that what it is? That's the okay.
Yeah.
That's their entity. Okay.
Musk acquires Twitter. October 27. Elon Musk closes his on-again, off-again purchase of Twitter and begins his reign by firing the company's top executives. What's he holding there? A sink? Looks like he's holding a sink.
Yeah, it's like basically it was symbolizes let this sink in, everybody.
Let this sink in. That's good. October 28. TechCrunch.
He
Around.
wanted to back out of that deal.
No, but that apparently he meant to do that. I remember this whole thing where he was saying he's backing out because Twitter would not disclose their like account information, like
Their financial.
yeah. So then it prompted an investigation. Like it forced the court to go and look into it. So instead,
Basically, yeah.
Twitter sold it.
Everybody hated that he bought Twitter,
Yeah.
but then he said he was backed up, but then they wouldn't let it go. Now he said, "All right, fine, I'll buy it."
Well, he said I'll buy it if you provide the info, and then they're like, you know what? Then now they're forced to. And this is the only reason why he was able to actually make them admit that, you know, all the bots. Okay. October 28th, TechCrunch. A round of weak earnings reports mark an end to the tech boom, and meta platforms Amazon and other companies will soon announce big layoffs. Oh man, Amazon is tanking right now. It's so bad. October 29th.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Amazon's not doing so good. October 29th, South Korea tragedy. Yeah, everything is tanking. I know. Day is saying. South Korea tragedy. More than 150 people have died from a crowd crush in one of Seoul's popular nightlife districts,
Look at that alleyway.
following a massive turnout for the Halloween
That's
weekend.
crazy.
Yeah,
Look at that
man.
alleyway.
And there were like,
You see all the
it was like
guy.
filled. It was packed.
It's like 100,000 people.
So sad, man. 150 people have died.
Yeah, that's
Being-
trying to fit through that alleyway.
Being
What the
crushed, like
Man.
alive.
Yep. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Wow. What a terrible way to die. Being trampled by other human beings.
Yeah.
That was like that concert. What was that concert? What's his name?
What?
Travis?
One
Travis Scott?
Remember
Oh,
all the people
yeah.
that- yeah.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Astro Glide or something?
Astro-
I don't forget. Astro Glide. I don't know.
Astroglide.
Astro- I know. It's not
Hey,
Astro
close
Glide.
enough.
Oh.
But
He-
it's Astro
He did better than I did. All right,
Yeah.
November. We're now in
Remember all, I
November.
think 11 people died, yeah.
November 2, Fed keeps raising. Federal Reserve lifts interest rates by another 0.75 percentage point for the fourth consecutive time and signals plans to keep raising them, possibly to higher levels than previously anticipated. November 3, Bibi is back.
Money back.
Benjamin Netanyahu pulls off a political comeback with a decisive victory in Israel's fifth election in under 4 years. Volt results show.
Benjamin Netanyahu. I liked him.
Netanyahu? Okay. November 5,
Yeah,
Houston
he's
wins
cool.
World Series. I did not know.
Cheers.
I didn't.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros defeat the Philadelphia Phillies, winning their first title since a sign-stealing scandal tarnished their 2017 championship in the eyes of many fans. Sign-stealing scandal? November 6,
Yeah,
Capitol...
trash-
What happened? What? What happened, Tom?
Trash gate. So when they were talking about the sign stealing, right?
Yeah.
Someone would be in the stands looking for the signals. Doing the
Oh.
back catcher thing.
Yeah.
When they heard that, someone would be smacking on the trash can, and they're
Mm.
saying, "What is that fucking noise?" And so you know it's a curveball coming.
Oh.
Yeah, they caught onto it, but yeah. I
Interesting.
mean, it's not illegal, but what do you call it? It's poor form.
Right.
It's like when you ever watch UFC and then they touch gloves, but then instead of reach out, you throw a punch.
Oh.
It's not illegal. You can defend yourself at all times, but
Yeah.
it's poor sportsmanship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like pop them. Yeah, same thing.
November 6th, capital dries up. The Fed's rate increases have sucked capital out of the markets, with mergers in stock and bond offerings slowing in October to the lowest level in over a decade, a journal analysis shows. Sorry, Deji, because I know you came in later in this year, but some of the big ones in the social media was the, obviously, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. That was this year.
Mm-hmm. I forgot that happened. That was crazy.
Like,
what a wild thing.
the actual war starting in, I think it was February or March.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's 300 days.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did
so
Brittany Griner show up?
that has not been on
Damn.
the headlines yet. No, not yet. We might hit that in
And I
December.
remember when that war started. I thought it'd be over in 30 days. I was way off.
No ways. That's
Remember, I said
that's
that in the last
optimistic.
podcast, like months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, well, I thought Russia was going to run over it. I mean, I don't know if I'm happy that I'm wrong.
Right. No.
now
We
it's-
we would hope
yeah.
that we would have hoped that it would have been 30 days, but all right.
Yeah.
November 8th, midterm votes. Voters go to the polls in the midterm elections, and early results show Republicans making gains in the House, but Democrats fending off an expected red wave. This is U.S. news. Ukraine reclaims Kherson in November 11. Ukraine's forces sweep into the key southern city of Kherson in one of the largest strategic and symbolic defeats for Russia in the war. November 11 again, crypto collapse. Cryptocurrency platform FTX files for bankruptcy protection. A swift demise for a company seen as a trusted platform just a week earlier.
Motherfucker too, man. That guy's a motherfucker. He just got arrested.
Yeah? For
So
fraud?
Well, fraud and all that stuff. Apparently 300 million went missing just like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how that is. And he said he made some honest mistakes and all that kind of shit, basically. And when he came back, they arrested him just like a week ago. And he's out on a $200 million bail.
Oh.
250 million, bro.
Oh, dude, but we were just talking about Alex Jones. Alex Jones owing $1.44 billion in damages.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Because he called
the
Sandy.
He's not okay.
He called the Sandy. What was it?
Oh man, he's
a hoax.
Not okay.
Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook incident, a hoax.
I mean,
that's crazy.
All right,
Billy.
November 16.
Say some shit.
Oh wait, November 12. Democrats hold Senate.
He owes a Billy for saying that's cap.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I mean, I could see the impact of it, though, you know? Especially when he stuck on it for a long time. Like, it was repetitive. He just kept saying over and over.
That's crazy.
November 12, Democrats hold Senate. Democrats retain control of the Senate as Senator Catherine Cortez Masto wins her race in Nevada, giving the party the 50 seats. Okay. November 16, Republicans take House. Okay, and more U.S. news. I should have probably just looked like international news. But anyway, November 17, Pelosi to step down as party leader. Democratic leader. Okay, a lot of political stuff here. November 18, special counsel for Trump probes. War crimes prosecutor as special counsel to oversee investigations into former President Trump's handling of documents. Mar-a-Lago efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Right. November 20, Disney brings back Iger. Following weak earnings and investor pressure, Walt Disney's board replaces CEO Bob Chapek with former CEO Robert Iger. Okay. November 22.
That guy made money.
Yeah, I think there was confidence built after that move.
Yep.
November 22, Walmart mass shooting. I did not know about this. 6 people are shot and killed in Walmart at a Walmart store in Chesapeake, Virginia, less than 2 weeks after mass shootings at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville and a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs, Columbia.
Yeah,
or Colorado. That could be Colorado. I don't know.
That was news. That was big news because they're saying right off the hop, right? It's some kind of homophobic, anti-gay, and it turned out to be a gay guy that went there. They know the guy who did it.
Yeah.
So that narrative got thrown out. Obviously, the guy went nuts and took it out on maybe an ex-boyfriend. Who knows? But yeah.
The memorial at
I just
Club
didn't like
Q.
how the media spun it right away.
Actually, yeah, there was a huge fear that people were saying it was being targeted. But
yeah, they were saying it was by anti homophobic,
anti-LGBTQ. But it
wasn't.
It was an LGBT. Yeah.
Doing your proper research, it turned out to be someone from the community who was pissed off at
it was
something,
a personal
right?
thing.
Exactly. That's why the news, every channel said it except obviously one station.
So would it
probably
be
know which ones were already, which ones were quick to already spill out the narrative, which ended up being wrong again.
So would it be accurate?
Are you saying Fox?
So
or CNN? Oh, Fox. Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
So would it be
the only one that said no, we're not going to make any claims that we don't know yet. But everybody was already on the anti-gay thing. Boom, right off the hop.
How is Fox doing the right thing? That's crazy.
So would it be accurate to say
they didn't jump on that narrative train that everyone's always pushing? They said, well, there's not enough information yet. How do you know?
Yeah.
It's an anti.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's be honest. And they were all wrong.
You said let's be honest. Anyway.
So it was a gay person?
It was a gay guy that did it.
So would it be accurate to say that's gay?
Boom, boom, ching. It would be, I guess.
Ching. Can't say it anymore. Nothing's gay anymore.
That was. All right. November 27, protests in China. Protests are erupting in major cities in China over President Xi's zero-tolerance approach to COVID-19. An unusual challenge to his authority. I didn't know this. December's 2.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a. If you go to China, there's already special things now. If you go to China, you have to be rescreened, and when you come back, rescreen. See, there's something going on in China, but nobody wants to admit it because it's racist. I'm telling you, man, China is always something.
It was racist? Oh, you shared in
Well,
WhatsApp? I missed that,
you
did
couldn't say that COVID came, you can't say, yeah, COVID came from China. You can't even, talk about it as racist, But obviously, it just went on today. Like, if you fly to China, you have to get screened, and when you come back, you have to get rescreened. Like, all this bullshit. There's going rampant over there.
It must be
But
really bad
China will
again.
not-
Yeah, the numbers must be super bad again.
Yes, but China will not divulge their numbers.
Yeah. They stopped like 3 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, they stopped at 4,000.
Yeah. All right. Dede shared a link in the chat. You can check that out later. All right, let's pop it up really open. Let's see what this is. Protest sweep across
The wave
China.
of protests sweeping China has reached the streets of Shanghai. In the country's largest city, demonstrators demanding an end to COVID lockdowns and daring to openly call for the resignation of Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
Oh,
Their defiance met with arrests, but it's unclear if police can stop what is now a national outcry. In Xinjiang, authorities in
Holy.
hazmat suits trying to hold their ground against crowds of demonstrators. The spark for the protest, a deadly apartment fire
good.
Friday night that killed 10 people, including
These guys
3
are out there in
kids.
hazmat suits. Like,
Videos
what
on
the
social
fuck?
media appearing to show emergency crews slowed down by COVID measures around the high
did we
rise.
dress up like that?
It took
Nobody
3
dressed up
hours
like
to put
that,
out the
did they?
flames.
Hazmat
Residents,
suits
many
and
of them
shit?
locked down in Xinjiang
remember
for
that.
3 months, were trapped. Xi Jinping has never faced public anger on this scale in his 10 years in power. China's government had tried tweaking zero COVID rules to help the economy. But with cases now at a record high, they're bearing down once again, crushing hopes of a gradual reopening. In Zhengzhou this week, there
So-
were clashes at the Foxconn factory making iPhones. Videos on social media showed crowds of police shoving workers
Look at all the
angry about
fucking
bonus pay and
hazmat
COVID
suits.
rules at the plant.
That's so fucking
Foxconn
weird.
apologized and gave payouts to workers wanting to leave, forcing Apple to warn that iPhone output will take a hit.
The
The
hazmat
future of
suits for
China's
COVID?
COVID policy now a test of will between the people and the government.
Now, in the last few minutes,
I mean, people are getting pissed off here about like lockdown rules and stuff. Like, I don't know. Who are you siding
Yeah.
with that? Who are you siding with that report?
I'm surprised that they're able to get that kind of information. Remember, China doesn't kind of let anything, but it's getting so big.
It's probably in
that,
social media, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, you heard about the lockdowns before, right? You know how they do it, right?
what,
They
like
would just
arrest?
take you and put you in a camp.
Oh,
yeah, they
that,
just take you and
yeah.
put you in a camp.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were going to do that again. So
Oh,
I guess the people got
like if
fed
you
up,
if you
man.
break
So I'm
if you
telling
break the curfew, right? Or if you break like the
if someone has COVID and you're part of that, what do they call that? That chain thing. I
bubble.
was with this person.
Oh, okay.
You know how they call that? They're gonna throw that person with you in the fucking camp.
Oh,
That's how they did it. China does it way different, and see, it's amazing that a lot of people don't know about this stuff. But yeah, it's only now but they've been locking people up.
That's crazy.
Dede's
last
saying
2 years.
that's a lot of issues for only 85,000 cases reported. That's true.
No,
Yeah, it's definitely.
the hazmat suits.
I mean,
The
what?
hazmat suits got
Yeah,
me
but what
going.
were they thinking it was? What they're wearing hazmat suits, but there's no cover on the face. It's stupid.
know.
It's not actually
It reminds
effective.
me of that movie. What was that movie?
Outbreak.
With the virus with
Ebola.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I mean that. Damn.
But they had
I mean-
actual full face shields that like it was like
Yeah, they
airtight.
had a hazmat.
Yeah, it was actual
Like,
hazmat.
what's
That's
going
not
on
an
over there?
hazmat suit. That was really ridiculous to see. Actually, like it doesn't do
Yeah.
anything for them. But
say something racist here, but I mean,
Oh,
China does
man.
wear masks on the reg, so
Yeah.
maybe that's the other thing how they deal with
That's their
fucking,
extreme. Let's cover our limbs too.
Yeah, like we already wear masks. Now we gotta wear fucking body shields.
All right. December 2, rail strike averted.
Oh,
President Biden signs legislation to prevent a nationwide strike by railroad workers. Price cap on Russian oil. December 2. G7 nations set a price cap of $60 a barrel on Russian oil. An unprecedented sanction on one of the world's largest oil producers months after its invasion of Ukraine. Really? You could do that?
How does that work?
How does that work?
How does that work?
Like,
If they say $60 and Russia can say no.
yeah, like, don't, well, we won't give it to you. Like, you just don't sell it. I don't understand.
Yeah, like I don't know how that works. Huh? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. December 6th, Trump organization guilty of tax fraud. Oh, really? Former President Trump's family business is convicted of criminal tax fraud for an off-the-books compensation scheme to pay some executives in car leases, apartments, and cash. Okay. To December 7th, China retreats on COVID policy. Oh, it worked. China drops most COVID testing and quarantine requirements. A hasty shift away from its zero COVID pandemic regime in the wake of nationwide protests and new economic disruptions. Wow.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. I guess they changed their mind.
So that stuff actually worked. December 8th, Brittany Griner is freed. There you go, bro. Women's basketball star Brittany Griner arrested in Russia in February. That was in February.
Bruh.
Right. Has been released and is returning to the U.S. through a prisoner exchange for a Russian arms dealer. Right. December 11th.
Trade.
Lockerbie bombing. Lockerbie bombing. Suspect is in U.S. custody. Bomb maker in the
That's
1988
crazy,
terrorist attack. Destroyed Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie,
103?
Scotland. Abu
Yeah.
Aguila Mohammed Masood is in U.S. custody
man.
and will face federal charges. Inflation eases in December 13. Consumer prices rose 7.1% in November from year earlier, the slowest pace since December 2021, the Labor Department reports. Huh? All right. December 13, FTX founder is charged.
There he is.
FTX founder CEO Sam Bankman-Fried is charged by U.S. prosecutors with fraud and conspiracy. A day after being arrested in the Bahamas, a lawyer for the failed crypto exchange recently told a court that a substantial amount of FTX's assets were missing or stolen. This is what you were talking about, Tom. This guy, right?
Right. Over 300 million anyway.
Just to go back to that stupid headline about inflation eases. The previous headline. It says consumer prices rose 7.1% in November from a year earlier, which is the slowest pace since December 2021. But it's still not slow. Like it's almost like it's trying to make something bad sound better, but it's actually worse.
Yeah.
It's still worse.
Like,
it's like you're bleeding. It's like you're bleeding, right? Like you were bleeding a lot, but you're still bleeding, and then you're like, "Don't worry, you're not bleeding as fast as you first were bleeding when we cut you." That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're still bleeding though. It's like,
Yeah.
anyway, I thought that was
Hemorrhaging.
and that's a top headline in that's stupid. Anyway. December
Wall
13th.
Street Journal.
Protection.
Hey, I thought these were on strike. Wall Street Journal. Oh no, it's New York Times. I can't remember who's on strike.
Thanks, Dede. All right, December 13th. Protection for same-sex marriages. President Biden signs a bill that gives federal recognition to same-sex and interracial marriages and requires states to recognize marriages that took place in states where they are legal. I didn't know that.
Interracial marriages? What?
Same-sex
There's been
and
interracial
same-sex
marriage
and interracial marriages. I mean, aren't there already interracial marriages? Yeah.
Yeah, there's been. Or are they talking about same-sex?
Same-sex interracial marriages. It sounds like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they have to bring that up.
Yeah.
It could just been same-sex marriages, but
Yeah, like a black guy and a white guy get married. Is that what they mean?
I guess. All right, December 14, Fed raises rates and signals more increases. Yeah, okay, the same. Trying to fix inflation, not really catching up. December 18, Argentina wins the World Cup. So there was the Super Bowl, there was the World Series, and now the World Cup. They did not mention the NBA. I just noticed it was in basketball. No one cared about basketball or hockey. In a game of wild swings, Argentina defeats France on penalty kicks. Yeah, we know, it was recent. December 23, winter storm and severe cold sweeps across U.S. Powerful winter storm leaves power outages. Okay, so that's the end of this article. And you guys know about what recently came up today in headline?
Yeah.
Particularly with Andrew Tate.
Oh, he got arrested.
Andrew Tate gets arrested for suspected alleged human trafficking.
Yeah.
I don't need to bring that up. I don't even want to put that up on the screen, but let's just say, I mean, yeah. I was thinking about we could like kind of talk about that guy, but I feel like he's had enough opportunity to be like discussed in media, and we don't need to use our time for that guy too. I think there's definitely a problem with him. He's right on almost all of his accounts. I know he's not a great guy, Dede. I don't think you've watched enough. He's accurate in how he's viewed, like how society and the world has worked for many, many years and still works today. He's right when he's observing how the world is. But my problem with him, I don't know, Dede. I don't know, actually. I don't know. If you're saying he's a great guy for the way he carries himself and how he actually, like, knowingly portrays himself to be abrasive and engages in exchanges with people for the sake of actually, like, knowingly, intently trying to get people to get pissed off or angry with him or, like, enraged with him, I don't think that's a great guy. I don't think that's, like, I don't know why he would be a great guy with that. Yeah, as I said, he's accurate with a lot of his, what he says in terms of how the world works. My problem with him is, though, like, it's not necessarily how it should be. Like, he has no, like, incentive, or he has no desire to make it better or to make it more fair. It's almost like, well, this is how the world is, therefore I'm gonna like use it in its fullest way and exploit it in its fullest way so that he can get ahead of everyone else. He wants to rule the world. I get it. He can get his whatever. He's got his own brand that he needs to maintain for media too, for him to make money. But to say that he's a great guy, I don't know why you would say that, but whatever.
Talking about gay?
Andrew Tate, huh?
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. He's okay.
He's already like the top 20%. Yeah, I know. Yeah, like I said, I've watched a lot of it, and he's coming back. Like he's back on Twitter apparently, and that's why you see the whole the headline with him and Greta. Was it Greta? Was that her name?
I saw that today, but I didn't look into it. Is that real? I don't even know. I
Yeah.
didn't. What?
The whole Twitter exchange.
the,
He's talking about his car emissions, and then Greta's like small dick energy. Don't need to get ahead.
Well, he ain't the only one. He ain't the only one with a car.
But Dede, he wants to be like he wants to rule the world. He wants to, anyway. Media doing all they can to ruin him because he won't join the elites. Well, yeah, he doesn't. It's not like he wants to be Illuminati, and he wants to do it his own way. Doesn't make him a hero though, just because he has his own agenda. Just because he's not doing the way.
Hero.
I'm not saying Dede's calling. Dede's talking in chat right now. I'm talking to Dede in chat. Anyway, but yeah, you guys can read that. But that's the headline that ex-kickboxer Andrew Tate detained in Romania faces human trafficking charges. That happened just like this morning.
What?
So there's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I kind of think it's a media stunt. I don't necessarily. I don't think it would hold. It doesn't make sense. Based on what I found out today, too, from another source, a friend. I didn't know this, but apparently a big part of his income stream, or like a big business of his, is he recruits women to run like cam girl like channels and stuff. Like he
Oh, that's nothing new. Yeah.
No, he's been doing that for a long time, right? So if
Yeah, that's always been a thing.
if that's been a thing of him that's been like really
Oh,
like prominent in his business success, for I don't know, a human trafficking charge to come now, and then for him to make a video. Apparently he made a video. They were like the Romanian forces were trying to find him, and he deliberately put out a video with a pizza box in the video that identifies that he's in actual Romania, so that they could arrest him, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, what I wanted to do too was just to touch on some notable deaths in 2022. If anyone, like some of these names I recognize. There's a lot that I don't, but Pele was today. I don't know if you guys knew that. Pele passed away today, I believe.
yeah, he died in the hospital. Yeah.
Damn.
Didn't another sports guy? It was the MVP guy, Bill
Oh, Bill Russell.
Russell. Didn't he pass away this year too?
Yes.
Like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah. Like
Greatest of all time, man. Right. It's crazy.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the MVP award was named after him. Anyone else know? Like, obviously, we know Queen Elizabeth also passed away this year.
Oh yeah, the Queen.
That was the big one.
Big
There's a
thing.
lot of faces here. Just putting them up here almost as like kind of tribute. Angela Lansbury? Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's the Murder, She Wrote. Obviously, the shooting with Migos, right? Did that guy pass away? Yeah.
Takeoff. Yeah.
Takeoff?
Yeah.
I saw that too. Yeah, Takeoff was here. Takeoff, age 28.
Damn. That's crazy that
Coolio?
one of the
Did we know that?
one of the Migos got killed.
Dude, Coolio? Did you know Coolio
Yeah,
passed away in September?
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, I remember hearing about. Yeah.
Wow. Anyone else recognize anything here? Yeah, Queen.
Who's that guy right there? I'm just curious. Who that guy roll up there with the hair?
This one?
Who's Jack Charles?
Jack Charles, grandfather of
of
Aboriginal
Yeah,
theater.
I was just curious.
Oh, okay. I guess I find myself looking for like young people on this panel.
Oh yeah.
Olivia Newton-John. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
From Greece?
Yeah.
Twitch.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Twitch was a recent one. Aaron Carter, was that?
was a bad one, man. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. The way Twitch, I just think there's something more to that story. But
I felt that way too. I don't see why he would have any reason to do that.
Yeah, like the
That's
guy
just
was
how
so
it
happy
goes,
that
bro.
he offed himself in a hotel. Like, I mean, is it possible?
The Green
That
Power
someone
Rangers.
can
That's
be
usually how
so,
it goes, no?
so
No, well,
be so lost.
when it
Nobody
was
have an inkling?
when it was Robin Williams, it wasn't as surprising. It was shocking, but
exactly.
it wasn't as surprising. But Twitch,
It was people who were close to him, like they knew it was coming, or it was possible. But nobody see everyone. It sounds like this guy just did it. Boom. Like it makes it sound like everybody's shocked, which kind of makes it weird in a way.
yeah, exactly. Like he had such a wholesome presence and being, and he had a healthy relationship with his wife and his kids.
Yeah,
It's-
like it just something feels off about it.
Yeah. I felt it right
I
away
was-
too when I read that. I was like, I don't know.
Like part of me was just sitting there going, like maybe he was having an affair and it went wrong. And I was like, fuck
Part of
that.
me started thinking it was like an insurance policy and he faked his death. That's where my
Insurance
mind went.
policy.
Maybe if he had like an insurance policy that would pay out. When
Yeah, I
he
mean,
died
that-
young. And
Yeah,
Yeah, but I heard with those, like, they be investigating your ass even after, like,
Oh, of
they
course.
granted the policy. It's like, ah,
Oh
what you
yeah,
done?
Yeah. It's not like it'll be easy or whatever. And if there's a body, that's the thing. Like, discovered the body.
yeah. Has there been a funeral yet already? I'm curious. I don't
I don't
even know.
know. But yeah, Day Day mentioned Aaron Carter, Twitch, and the Green Power Ranger, Tommy. Remember Tommy?
Yes.
That guy was also, I think that was also a suicide.
Suicide, I think.
Damn.
But yeah, guys, oh, why would they show Princess Di? Maybe he's
Who
the
the hell is Patrick DeMarkeller?
fashion
That is Princess.
fashion photographer, I guess,
Okay.
of Princess
I guess
Di.
that's his best picture, yeah.
Yeah. Already passed Bill Russell. Do you guys have anything specifically significant in the last year? 2022, was it an up year from 2021? Down year from 2021?
Shit, man.
Not the same.
Felt the same?
Interesting. It's a progression, steady progression, but nothing like crazy in terms of like a leap.
I'd say it was a big growth year for me. Not so much maybe on a like a mental personal, but like I guess career wise it was a big push. Personal life is pretty much constant, yeah, same from the last year, but yeah, I guess you could say felt kind of more steady.
Yeah, sometimes that's good.
Any big plans for the New Year's, guys? Like not necessarily New Year's Eve the jam, but like are you guys all about resolutions? I don't make New Year's resolutions really. It just feels
I
like
was thinking about it this year.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like writing out a huge list.
Goals for the year?
Yeah, like a very specific long list of every single thing that I want to get done, and then like keeping it somewhere.
Yeah. I think with me is it doesn't feel like a turnover of something big besides a digit in the calendar, but like I kind of feel like every week is almost like all right, well, what's next, and it's just another week.
Yeah.
The only difference is it's like society makes it seem like there is this big break because you have the holiday break, and then it's usually when people have an excuse to kind of like let themselves go with the holiday food and like partying and relaxing, and then it feels like you were forced to restart because going back to work feels much more of a big step than a normal weekend. But yeah. Anyway, that was cool. The stream's been an hour and a half. I did not think I'd go that long, but that was a long article. Yeah, guys, I didn't want to miss the last Thursday of the year. I figured it was worth. I owed it to the podcast, the BrackCast, to hold one for today. But thank you guys for coming out when you did. It made it a lot more interesting than me just reading an article by myself. Day, thanks for joining chat. Anyone else want to say anything for the year? Just wish everybody, hopefully they had a great 2021.
Everyone have a good day. Happy New Year.
Yeah, man. Be safe out there on Sunday. Don't go nuts with dress appropriately, guys. If it's cold, I know if you're going to a jam, you want to look all nice, but like ladies, dress appropriately. Make sure you stay warm, especially if you're being forced to wait out in line. Find that out too, because we've had some historic, like my personal experience in like New Year's Eve party a few years ago. It was poorly organized in terms of like entry, and people were forced to wait outside in like -20, and girls were just in like their like open-toed sandal shoes dress, getting frostbite. People were getting like trampled. People were fighting, and ended up having to go to like emergency. Like I had to call an ambulance. It was nuts. Like it was a messed up night. So whatever venue you guys are booking for your Sunday night, figure out what the lineup's going to be like, what the queue's going to be like. If if the entry is gonna at least have some sort of warm area for you guys to line up. If not, dress accordingly. Cover up. Make sure you don't hurt yourselves.
Yeah.
Be responsible, guys. All right.
All right.
2022. Thanks. We'll see you next year, guys. Peace. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on, I guess, Call of Duty. Peace.